Okay, back with you on the Bronx Buzz, changing gears totally. And we're going to do something I don't think we've ever done on this program before, and that is talk about a video game. We talk about a lot of things that people put out in the media, but listen, let's face it, in the media today, if you're going to be contemporary, you got to be talking about video games. And so let's welcome Asia-Little Wolf Neal to the program. She told me she's a character in a new game called Hip Hop's Legend, but you're a little closer to the game than that. You're one of the people involved in putting it out, right?
Yeah, I am. Right now we have a t-shirt line, and so I am one of the models for it, and I'm also one of the PR. I talk about the game like I'm doing here, and answer questions and kind of just help get the word out there, since I'm a millennial with a lot of connections in different fields. The creator of the game was just like, will you help me put the word out there, since I have a different connection to a younger generation.
I think it's fascinating and wonderful, and I obviously I have an understanding of media. The fact that you view it not only as the game, but it's like a culture, and that there's clothes that go with it, and that's all part of it. And people who participate in it participate in the culture. Talk to me about our hometown, Boogie Down Bronx,
Boogie Down
and
Bronx.
there we go. And talk about this game. Now, was it sent specifically originally centered around the Bronx, or did they just figure, you know what, if we're going to do a hip hop, let's talk about 1520 Centric Avenue?
No, so actually, the creator of the game, his name is Sekou Johnson. He was born in the Bronx. He grew up right alongside with hip hop, in the 1970s, when everything was kind of on the rise, and, b-boying and wild style and just all of the things we equate to hip hop were up and coming. He was right there growing up with it. So then, as he got older and he started to develop this franchise, it just made sense to have it in the birthplace of hip hop, to have a game that centers around the education of hip hop in his hometown. And I've known Sekou my whole life. He grew up with my mom, who also grew up in hip hop, and my uncles. And so when I heard that he was doing this, I had already been working with him on something else. And then he introduced the character that I'll be playing to me. And I was just like, so how do I get more involved in this? And he was just like, you're already involved. Like, my cousin, I grew up in the Bronx. My cousin is a famous legendary rapper, and
Who is that?
him.
Do you want to say who that is?
I can say Craig G from the Juice Crew back in the day, and Marley Marl and Dropping Science. He was
Well,
on
what
that record.
Asia, what really strikes me is that he couldn't shake it. That he grew up during that era. It energized him. And then when you said, "Well, can I be part of it?" It was already there.
Yeah, he
It
was
was in
just
your
like,
culture. This is so great. This is so BX. This is so Bronx to me that I can't love it enough.
yeah,
Sorry.
he was just like, you're already a part of it. And for me, being involved was important to me, because it's like, I grew up in hip hop. I grew up in music. My family's very music oriented outside of hip hop, but hip hop's always been there for me. And just because you grow up in the Bronx, it's something that's unavoidable. You're always going to hear it somewhere. You're always going to have a friend or two or three that are just obsessed with it. And so for me, I grew up in hip hop. And so it just was a natural progression to kind of join.
Talk to me about video games. Listen, there's music, there's clothes, there's dancing. There's all different aspects of it. There's spoken word. I mean, there's many different angles to this. But talk to me where a video game about hip hop called Hip Hop Legends fits into, this culture that you're talking about.
So, we have a lot of video games. Well, I actually can't say a lot. We have a handful of video games that are centered around hip hop, but we don't have a video game that educates anybody about hip hop. And so I feel like the younger generation has kind of just lost where it all began. You know, they don't know what hip hop once stood for. They don't know why Public Enemy sang or rapped certain songs. They don't know why NWA did certain things and said certain things in their songs. And, you know, they kind of just go with it, you know, and they're
Mhm.
just like, yeah, you know, they'll say the lyrics, but then if you actually talk to them about it, they don't know what it
They
means.
don't quite know what it is because it comes to them,
Exactly. And
right?
video games are so integrated into this generation, my generation, because just like with Sekou growing up with hip hop, we grew up with video games and electronics and the development and the movement and the evolution of media and
Right.
electronics. And so we're the last generation to grow up on the street and have, you know, social media and smart devices. So for us, there's a special place in our hearts as millennials for video games.
Wow.
You know,
And you know, what I definitely appreciate, because I know some of the original hip hop guys, and we've had a number of dialogues about these kinds of things. Um, they want people to understand what it was about. And certainly that's the theme of the hip hop museum
yep.
and all that. And I so appreciate what you're saying. Yeah, listen, you know, there's hip hop, there's all kinds of games out there, but ones that educate about culture. This thing, to me, it sounds like it can go. And the visuals are just so wonderful. You know, I'm like, whoa. There, by the way, there's 1520 Centric Avenue, and there's where we're getting the hip hop museum. I mean, it's all there. um, I don't, you know, I'm not a video game guy, and you're talking about generations. I mean, that's what it is. How does the game go? And you're one of the characters. Like what's going to happen, and when it, you know, we want to know how we're going to get it and put it in
So
Bronx kids' hands. That's what I want
okay,
to know.
so for right now, it's a mobile game. We figured that that was going to be the easiest way to get it out to people.
All
It's
right, I'm all set. I'm
See,
ready for you.
exactly. There you go. Just take
I'm
your
here.
phone,
I'm
and when the
here.
game comes out, all you have to do is go to your operating systems store, which is if you have an
Mhm.
iPhone, it's the iPhone app, the iPhone
Right.
iStore. There we go. And then for me, I have an Android, so it would be the Play Store, the Google Play Store. You just would type in Hip Hop Legends,
And
and
it
bam, download it, and it's yours. You have it.
and
And
and what does it look like? What do you, I mean, you know, I'm sorry again, it's not my generation. It's
no,
not what
you're
I do.
fine. So when it
I-
comes up, it would most likely, I don't know if you can see my shirt fully, but it would most likely have the logo on it. And I haven't actually seen the icon for it just yet,
wow.
'cause I'm still in the process of, you know, creating it, but it would most likely have the logo as the icon, the little, you know, thumbnail, and then it'll say the name of the game, but it'll also say the description, which will just explain that it's a hip hop trivia game where you
Ah,
play as a character named Sonia, and she basically travels through the Bronx trying to make her way to the Native Hip Hop Museum that you've mentioned, the end
wow.
destination.
I love this. I'm
is-
sorry. I love this. I think it's so great. I mean, as you know, I'm going to get on my soapbox here. We have such an incredible culture and incredible borough and all our neighborhoods. And believe me, from Soundview to, you know, Woodlawn, and that's who we are. And to put it in this media, I just couldn't love it enough.
yeah.
I
I've
completely,
had, you know, the honor so far of seeing a little more than the clip that we sent over. You know, I've
right.
seen the details that are going
Wow.
into this. And I think because we are Bronxites, we're doing a lot to make sure that we honor the Bronx and show it for its
Tremendous.
beauty and kind of come away from the violence of hip hop also. Cause it's like all the games that we have, like the Def Jam franchise, it's a fighting game. There was
Yeah.
a Wu-Tang video game that was based off of like a Tekken fighting game. So they're all like violent. And while there's fighting in this game, it's not based around that violence. It's based off of the history of hip hop. It's a trivia
Right.
game. For,
And you know that the fact is that's what they all think it is, and they're so wrong. You know what I mean?
yeah.
When I talk to some of the original hip hop guys, I mean they're like, it's so far away from what we were thinking about. You know, and now so you've been talking about it in the future. When will it actually be on Gary's phone? And then the next thing is, social media is going to have it. I mean, give me the whole range, because this is what you work on all the time, right?
Yeah, so we are set to release in 2021. So later on this year. You should be able to get it on your phone. I'm trying to push for Sekou being willing to put it on the Nintendo Switch and make it, a little bit more than just a mobile game, because I feel like the Switch is a mobile device that you can pick up and go, and so it still fits the brand and the franchise. And
In time, I'm sure
in
in time.
time, it's not an immediate thing. And then yeah,
And
so
and
so
when are we going to see that?
2021, we don't have a set date just yet,
Okay.
but if you keep in touch with our social media, and we have a website, when it will be released, and we'll keep everybody updated.
You can be sure. Now, could we get, listen, we'd love to be right here when it's time to reveal it. Could you get, Sekou to come with you on the show the next time? And when we're
I don't
ready
know
to,
if I can convince him,
he
but
doesn't do that?
he's not into it.
He doesn't do that? All right.
He'd rather be the
That's
behind the
fair.
scenes person. He's there for moral support. He's here to support me, but he really just
Right.
would rather have me do it.
That's fine. And in fact, when the museum opens, and I forgot I think they said 2022, maybe at the end or whatever.
20. I actually have the date written down. I
That's all
know.
right. You don't have to look it up. It's okay. It's coming up. When the museum opens, it's got to be one of the things that's just going to explode it. I mean, it's got to be. Kids will pick it up and they'll all sit there going, wait a minute, they'll be talking to each other. I'm just completely energized by what you're doing.
Yeah.
Really.
The Native Hip Hop Museum opens 2023.
Okay.
And currently there's actually a pop-up right across the street from where the Native Hip
Yes,
Hop
of
Museum is
course.
supposed to be. Um,
Yes, we've been in there, and all about it. Listen, Asia-Little Wolf Neal, you got to come back. You got to keep talking about it. We got to keep talking about the positive things in Bronx culture.
For
And
sure.
we're just so thrilled that you joined us this evening on the Bronx Buzz.
Thank you for
Hip
having
hop
me.
legends coming to a cell phone near you. All right. Thank you so much, Asia-Little Wolf Neal. And in our previous segment, we thank Jessica Gould from The Gothamist and from WNYC. We've got a lot of good stuff. Congressman Jamal Bowman will be on Bronx Talk this coming week. Just stay with BronxNet. You'll find everything you need to know about the BX. Have a good night. See you.